This Minnesota Vikings preview edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is presented by WynnBET. Bet $50 WynnBET and get $200 in free bets. Bet big, win bigger with WynnBET. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bets today. We're also brought to you by IP Vanish. IP Vanish is the official VPN of SGPN, and they're offering 70% off. You go to ipvanish.com/SGP. That's ipvanish.com/SGP. And make sure to check out our new Discord server, the perfect place to interact and sweat bets with the entire SGPN crew. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Ooh, welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
I'm gonna assume that was just an extremely meta dig at Kirk Cousins' inability to throw the ball.
Yes, I did slam the mic stand with my hand when doing my sweet follow through to the camera. It does. I don't get enough credit because a lot of times I have a drink here. So to thread the needle underneath the mic arm directly to the camera again, Ryan, it's 2-a-days for us. It's training camp for us.
I feel like we need to move. You're a lefty. You're throwing with the right hand.
Yes,
now.
I throw with my right. I write with my left. Ambidextrous.
Always throws me off.
It is training camp for us too, because the defense, aka this hard mic stand, is ahead of the offense. Nothing to get worried about. Don't get all too fired up about the camp reports. All right, we're talking Minnesota Vikings. Oh, and Derek Stevens was on the intro spot there, and you saw the viral video of like Circus Sportsbook where the water was just pouring out, and then I don't know if you saw Derek. He did a video from the rooftop of Circus saying, "We never closed, kept it open all night." Shout out to my crew, and oh man, can't wait to go back and hang out there.
He's just a dude. No matter.
Derek Stevens, Ryan, dog. He is a true dog.
I think there is a certain element of authenticity that you can only achieve when you meet the guy. Because the video, no offense to the videos he does, it's not him coming across in there. It's somewhere between Rodney Dangerfield and just a dude from like the Midwest somewhere.
Yeah, very personable.
And yeah, I just
Yes.
What's the guarantee?
Good. I think they're the circuit contest. I'm sure we'll be talking about it later. We'll get Derek on the show. 2 million, I think, this year. So it's going to be, and obviously,
will we be entering?
Yes, of course. Right. No, we're going to take a week off.
Will we be entering the Survivor twice this year, just in case we lose immediately? We'll have something.
Yeah,
to
so
talk
we need
about.
2 Survivor entries.
Okay.
I think we jinxed our Survivor play by not taking the Texans week 1, the ultimate onions play to the Survivor. That was the kind of mojo you need.
Talked about it all offseason.
Yeah, and then we've chickened out. What else is going on? Oh yes, football is back Thursday with the Hall of Fame game. We're going to do a countdown Q&A show from 4:30 Pacific to 5 p.m. Pacific.
Wow.
You guys can call in.
Times. Wow.
Well, the game starts at 5. Maybe we won't stop exactly at 5, but you can call in on the Discord. So if you haven't already, went to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord, get in there, reserve your seat, so you can ask us, NFL futures questions, whatever you want to get into. We will be talking
anything
National
off,
Football
anything off
League.
the table. Any no-fly zone areas?
No.
I don't want to hear Danny
AMA.
once. No Danny's. Only Dan.
Only Danielle Jones. Oh, we got Danielle Hunter coming up in this episode. That's a real Danielle. And you're talking about real sports books. Of course, WynnBET, baby. So many active states, more on the way, coming soon. All you got to do, head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. So they know we sent you, right? Help out the program there. And a $50 bet gets $200 in free bets. They got a bunch of other fun contests coming up. So much great stuff over on WinBet, including that parlay wheel. Spin it. Let's fire up that parlay wheel. Let's go. And again, 100% match up to $1,000 on the casino. Oh, and MLB reduced juice. So many reasons to head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. Offer subject to change. Terms, conditions at winbet.com. Listen, 21 or older and present in the state where playthrough WinBet is available. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Let's go, Ryan. Shout out to Chad Graham in the YouTube chat saying, OMG, you guys are sales forecast spreadsheet saviors. Love that I can make it live. LFG. Munoz Manji in the chat. Check him out. Baseball Gambling Podcast.
He's a busy man.
Or MLB Gambling Podcast, Propcast. So much content coming at you.
Working on a top secret project right now. I don't want to bury the fact that we're about to preview the great Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings.
Yes.
A team that once made once made whoring on a boat a thing.
Yeah. They were the original boat trip.
But Munoz may be off working on a special project. New football feed loading for the fall.
Incoming. So. More football is always a good thing.
You wanted more football. We give you more football.
Minnesota Vikings 2020. They were 7-9 straight up, 6-10 against the spread. Last year, 8-9, 9-8 against the spread. Both those previous years went under their win total. 8.5 last year, 9 in 2020. Yeah, overall, my takeaways on the Minnesota Vikings. I do think the offense should be throwing the ball more. Of course, brought in a new head coach from the Rams system, and you would expect like a little more, passer friendly.
Are we worried
system.
He's never called plays before?
Well, Nick Sirianni never called plays, but then he ended up giving the play calling duties away. I think that is somewhat of a little bit of concern as far as the offense.
People seem to think very strongly that the offense is going to be fixed, progressive mind, and I think if you've never called plays, it's kind of a big deal, but maybe it's not a big deal. Zach Taylor was like a QB coach before he got hired to the Bengals. To your point, Sirianni, I do think people in the community, the marketplace, I guess, based on like the odds and everything, they don't seem concerned at all about Mike Zimmer's ability to coach up players on the defensive side of the ball. They don't seem to be giving him any credit for being a decent coach.
Yeah.
And
I think he was,
again, right. Like if he was the reason their offense was mediocre, only 16th in DVOA, hilariously, they were 16th in DVOA offensively, defensively, and overall last year.
Sounds about right.
Exactly. But the concern for me would be like, okay, if he was holding them back to be the 16th offense because of his old school method of playing football, too wide, run the ball, then maybe he was helping to carry that 16th ranking in defense. And I do think there's been a slanderous Mike Zimmer sucks tour, which is kind of crazy to me, Sean. This is a team that comically played in 14 one-score games last year. 14. They went 6-8. If the ball bounces differently in a couple of those games, Mike Zimmer's not even fired. So for us to be listening to people talking about how horrible his offensive schemes were, how horrible what he did to this team, again, we seem to be ignoring the fact that Kirk Cousins is a grown man who loses you football games. We just talked about Carson Wentz, and it's the same shit.
It is easy to throw, Zimmer, throw him under the bus, but overall, pretty solid tenure in Minnesota. 72, 56-1. He won 2 playoff games, one with Kirk Cousins and one with Case Keenum. He got Case Keenum to an NFC Championship game. I think that's worth something.
It's like, what are we mad about? The coach or the fact that we invested in a quarterback that's a gatekeeper, right? You're never going to. His ceiling isn't the top.
No,
his floor is high. He's got a nice floor, but his ceiling just isn't the top. And
Yeah, look at the past couple years though. 7-9, 11-5, 8-8, 13-3. Like who knows?
It just makes me sick.
They could be there for a bounce back year. And
as a football guy,
I think,
and a man, to see the way that people are talking shit on Mike Zimmer.
He really is a man's man.
He's a man's man who obviously he's got off the field interest. Maybe you're jealous of that.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
But also, I think we're just like we're just brush. I'll stop saying everyone. A lot of people out there seem to be just brushing under the rug what his value was to the team's defensive side of the ball. And they're like, oh yeah, well now we got a Sean McVay guy. So the offense could be great. 11 personnel. We're going to have Dalvin Cook. We're gonna Justin Jefferson's really good. Adam Thielen might be done.
Yeah.
And then what?
Well,
Irv
KJ
Smith,
Osborne.
he gets hurt every year.
KJ Osborne.
The offensive line, a lot of question marks there. You know what? If the Vikings offensive line was on the New York Football Giants, hit the under, baby, we would be talking shit on it hard, or you would be talking shit on it hard. The interior is a black hole, and you're telling me Kirk Cousins with no confident interior pressure?
I think why you're slightly higher on the offensive line is their left tackle. He was a rookie last year.
He's a Hokie. I like him.
Closed out the season pretty strong. So if he takes a step up and solidifies the left tackle, that I think will. I mean, PFF has them ranked 19th, which I think probably could be fair. And arguably, you could say it's Kirk Cousins. I guess in his favor, he hasn't had the best of offensive lines in his career. So I think there's a world where maybe they get up to 15, something like that. They're certainly by the eye test, and they don't look like a top 10 offensive line. But getting back to the defense, to me, they bring in Donatel, defensive coordinator. He was from the Broncos with Fangio, so he plans on playing a multi-front scheme, meaning like 3-4 and 4-3 alternating. To me, what I worry about is, and I look at their draft class, like Lewis Sine, Andrew Booth Jr.,
all DBs, which was smart.
Round 1 and 2, even Evans, a cornerback from Missouri, in the 4th round. Like I think there's a world where this defense and secondary ends up being really good, just not this year. I think it's too much to ask for these guys first year in their league. It's like a new system, multi-front, and you're bringing in a bunch of young talent into the secondary. It's like stuff that I think is good long term, but I'm worried it's going to be tough for them in the short term.
100%, it will be contingent on the pass rush, and I think that's if you listen to anyone who followed the team closely last year, the team lived and died by the pass rush, and when the pass rush was healthy, they were a decent team. They were getting home, and when the pass rush went away due to injury, it was a problem.
Kyle, Viking super fan, Canadian all-star there, saying Zimmer does suck. Let's go Vikings. It wasn't just last season. Also pointing out your awesome Winnipeg Blue Bombers shirt that he sent in, which is really great. And he's pointing out that Vikings fans also hate Kirk Cousins. I did find it funny from doing a low pass on the Vikings subreddit that they refer to him as our captain
really
many
funny.
times in the subreddit. Look at our captain go. Throwing some ball. It was pretty great. And Kirk Cousins, you mentioned gatekeeper. I think this is the perfect phrase, and you hear it all the time in as far as the quarterback position. You can win with him, but not because of him. And Kirk Cousins really epitomizes that. Like he's not going to carry the team, put the team on his back, but you give him Justin Jefferson, you give him Dalvin Cook, maybe KJ Osborne has an increased role in the offense, and you're in good position. I think as we've gone through the preseason process, they become more and more interesting from a fantasy point of view. Like I'm kind of kicking myself for not having some more Kirk Cousins, like second team best ball stacks, because I do think there's a world where they're playing from behind. They're getting a bunch of easy garbage yards later on in the game.
Definitely was in my takeaways. There's a number of versions.
Playing a dome, questionable defense, and the ability to pass the ball.
Whether or not this team is like successful winning and losing, I think there's a bunch of versions of this team where maybe the pass rush goes away due to injury again. The defensive backfield reinforcements, the young guys, they're not playing well. They're giving up a shit ton of points, and this offense is going out and just cherry picking down 2 touchdowns and scoring a lot of points. So I certainly it made me reconsider Dalvin Cook. Why is Dalvin Cook not ranked higher this year? And so maybe that's something I'll go back and revisit. But again, like coming back to last year in the 14 one-score game, Sean, 10 were on the final play. Again, like I do think there are a lot of cases to be made for this team having a decent ceiling. When I look at the win total being 9, do I see a ceiling of 12? No.
Yeah.
Do I see a ceiling of 11? Maybe in a perfect season where Dalvin Cook and the pass rush and the offensive line clicks and everyone stays healthy. I just think the offensive line, I have question on the coach. I have questions on the defense. When's the last time a Vic Fangio disciple has led a good defense?
It's a fair point. Moonoff in the chat throwing out Kevin O'Connell, coach of the year. I think if you're high on the Vikings, that's certainly in the realm of possibilities. I would, yeah, like if the Vikings go 12-5, I think he would have a pretty good shot at coach of the year there. Now, again, to me, it's just like the questions are all on the defense. Like I think the Vikings offense is going to be competent. I think they're gonna be able to move the ball. I think they're gonna be able to put up some points.
I think they have to. I think that's the way you say it. I think they have to even be a mediocre team. This offense has. I don't think they're going to be mediocre on defense. I just don't. I think they're going to be bad on defense. And I think,
and they have a couple of like aging vets in the secondary that they're relying on. Like I know switching from man to zone helped Patrick Peterson, but how much can you get out of him?
The Vikings lost their defensive line coach, a guy. Again, you're going to make fun of me because he came to the Giants, and that's why I'm very aware of this story. But by all accounts, he was very revered as being an absolute dog. If you want to hit the soundboard, and dog. You know, Minnesota Vikings with Zimmer and the staff, they were able to materialize pressure. They played a certain brand of football, and you knew they were going to have aggressive guys coming downhill and linebackers behind it who could ball out. And what don't they have this year, Sean? They don't. The pass rush is there, but it's shallow, and the linebackers are not necessarily there. And then you have a young back end. I just think the expectation for me is bad defense and above average to really good offense.
Well, and Harrison Smith and Patrick Peterson, both, very good players in their prime, but
past their prime.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know, I'm not one to talk down on Harry the Hitman, but I think that could be an issue. And then Patrick Peterson, I think, how long is he still a starter quality cornerback? I think there's a ton of questions there.
Yeah, I mean, to highlight the secondary like you did was correct, right? It's like it's a couple young guys and a couple old guys, and yeah, that might work. But if you're starting with a couple old guys and a couple young guys, it means you don't have a ton of depth either, and that's concerning. And I think when you look across the entire defense, you don't have a ton of depth. And then with the expectation that what if these guys don't get coached up as much, then yeah, I certainly think that the floor for the defense is very low, just like the ceiling for the offense is very high, right? If the offensive line clicks, they have a chance. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, walking through they do have, they don't have a super tough schedule.
It's middle of the pack, 16th easiest according to the strength of schedule win total metric.
Did you know?
Yes,
Kevin O'Connell was the QB coach for Kirk Cousins in Washington on the McVay Shanahan staff.
You like that? You like that?
That revered, legendary coaching staff of the Washington Redskins.
It is funny that they let Sean McVay go, like the one good thing they had going for them on the team, one homegrown talent, and they let him walk out the door. That's kind of crazy.
Specifically, the back end of their schedule is on the easier side. So this could be a team that we look to maybe they make a late run into the playoffs, and we have an opportunity to play against Kirk Cousins in the postseason.
Oh, if Vikings make the playoffs, I'm looking at auto.
They do have a 9 home game, 7 road game in opposing stadium split because they do have an international game. So a little bit of schedule imbalance in their favor. They were, you like to point out when teams are unlucky with the fumble luck, Sean. The Vikings were super lucky. Fifth most EPA from turnovers, and they recovered 61% of their fumbles, which was good for third best in the league.
Zimmer again.
Regression.
Zimmer.
That's a dog Zimmer quality, right? Like go get You see the things he's mounted in his life, both on the wall and in his bed,
figuratively and literally.
This is a man who gets what he wants. So I don't know if this is Kevin O'Connell going to be able to coach this up. Kevin O'Connell sounds like a fucking tax accountant. Like, is this guy going to have a dog in him? He's a McVay runoff. At some point, the McVay runoffs are going to be a problem and going to be watered down, and they're not all going to be good. We just assume they're all going to be good. We just assume everyone's going to roll out there and be able to run this fucking scheme. So far, from what I can tell, I haven't seen a McVay disciple do anything without an elite quarterback. Zach Taylor was nothing until Joe Burrow decided to be the best fucking dude in the league for a month and a half. Would you agree with that statement?
I don't think the Bengals' success was scheme based. I think it was Joe Burrow.
That's what I mean, right? Like,
hanging in the pocket.
At some point, we have to, like, I get it. Sean McVay, he likes to shave his chest and take his shirt off.
Sean McVay, I think his greatest coaching accomplishment was getting Jared Goff to a Super Bowl. So yes. I will tip my hat to Sean McVay for that.
No one else has. No one else from that.
No, I would be pretty surprised if he gets Kevin O'Connell gets Kirk Cousins anywhere near sniffing the Super Bowl. All right, we're gonna walk through the schedule, talk about the 2022 odds. Speaking of odds, have you guys checked out Odds Trader yet? You should. Odds Trader, perfect place to compare all the major odds from the major sports books, including promos, sign up codes. Again, you want to get your best deal. And also it has a bet tracker, so you can track your picks, your bets. Hey, I'm awesome at MLB. I'm horrible at NHL. Whatever it is, you need to put on the game tape. Scout yourself as a gambler. Plus, again, Odds Trader, not only handicapping, but play-by-play updates, live scores, and bet tracking, player stats, game stats, projected game day weather. It's great to have all of that right in one place. And again, odds shopping and some of the best sign-up codes. All you got to do is go to oddstrader.com/Blue Wire, oddstrader.com/Blue Wire. Odds Trader, the #1 site for all your game day bets. And we're also brought to you by IP Vanish, your lead pipe lock when it comes to internet security. Again, don't let browsing history, passwords, crypto, banking information. You're doing so much sensitive things on the internet that you don't want people to know about or have access to. Again, IP Vanish makes you virtually invisible online. You can use it on a streaming device as well, like Fire Stick. We use it here for God's Eye in the SGPN studios. Highly recommend it. And again, a 30-day money back guarantee. So if you try it, you don't like it, 30 days money back guarantee. And the yearly plan, 70% off. IPVanish.com/SGP, IPVanish.com/SGP. Kramer, stock schedule. What do we got?
All right. As I mentioned earlier, fairly middle of the pack. Although I do think when we walk through it, Sean, you're going to feel like this is not a very difficult schedule. First up, Green Bay at home. Not the best way to start your coaching tenure.
I think that's going to be tough. Fired up. Oh, you think it's Devontae Adams, the Hall of Famer? I'll show you Hall of Fame.
I do think people are vastly underestimating the John Wick sequel we're about to see. Like, John Wick's the second John Wick was fucking good. People aren't expecting Aaron Rodgers to come out with some heat. Like, guy loves himself.
He's gonna have a chip on his shoulder.
Maybe he tries too hard, but I don't know. At Philly on Monday Night Football, Detroit at home, at New Orleans, overseas, across the pond, as you like to say, Sean. So again,
they're starting London games that early.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that.
The invasion begins.
No, I always, in my head, they were always like November. I didn't realize they started them all the way in October. So I think the Packers always going to be tough. Eagles at on the road Monday night. That's going to be a tough spot for the Vikings.
The spaceship is a decent home field edge.
No, I agree, and I like them Lions. The Viking Saints game in London, I could see that going either way. You got two dome teams playing on that sloppy pitch.
I think this is.
I think 1 and 3 is certainly possible.
I'm gonna rate it like this: if you can disturb the interior of an offensive line, and you can score points on the offensive side of the ball through the air, I'm gonna give you a legit shot to win, or you're going to win the game. So I'll say Eagles win, Packers win. They beat the Lions, and I think I'll say they beat the Saints. I'll go 2-2.
Yeah, I'll go 2-2.
Oh, you're gonna join me.
I was thinking 1-3. 2-2 is very possible.
All right, next up, Chicago, the Bears at home at Miami, the Dolphins into the bye week, week 7. Then they come out of the bye week to face Kyler at home, and then on the road against the Commandos. Again,
interesting schedule here.
Winnable spots, also losable spots. I can totally see them winning against the Bears and dropping the Dolphins. I kind of just want to skirt the 2-2 here and play it safe and keep riding the. I just don't want to rely on this team early. You pointed out all the reasons to be cautious about the defensive scheme, and so I think that concerns me. So I'll go 2-2 again. I'll shade conservative. Maybe it's more like a 2.5, Sean, if we wanted to be nerdy about it. But they don't offer half wins in the realm of the reality. So what are you going 2-2?
Yeah, it does feel like they could, maybe
could
revenge game
there, right?
shows up. Cardinals. They
100% beat the Bears. The Bears are just I don't think the Bears have a shot against the Vikings.
Yeah, I'm slightly higher on the Bears.
Kyler probably get that done.
Kyler on the road though. Kyler.
It's home Kyler.
What do you mean? It's in.
Sorry. Yeah, they're at home versus Kyler. Yes. Yeah. Road Kyler.
I think I think they might be in that game.
They win that game.
In Miami's is a tough non-conference road spot, even though Tua obviously sucks.
Yeah,
so I'll say 2-2. But to your point, if they win 3 there, I guess I'm not shocked.
At Buffalo,
loss.
Dallas at home, Patriots at home on Thanksgiving.
Oh, that's the night game. All right,
interesting.
It'd be kind of fun.
Kirk Cousins in prime time, and then the Jets at home. So again,
like them to beat the Jets, like them to lose to the Bills.
Kirk Cousins in prime time. We're gonna fade that, right?
Yeah,
he was good last year. I think we have to.
You have to. O'Connell versus
rookie head coach.
Rookie head coach versus Bill Belichick. Short time to prepare. I'll give them the win against the Cowboys. 2-2. Yeah, these. I know.
This feels like we're being pussies here. I think.
What do you mean?
I feel like we need to have a stance and not just sit on the fucking bar here. At Detroit. Colts at home, Giants at home, at Packers.
So Packers loss, Giants win.
Stop
it. Colts at home. I could go either way. At Lions win. I could see them closing out. Well, no, at Green Bay is going to be tough. Yeah, it's going to be 2-2 again.
There's a version where the Colts at this point are not very good. Matt Ryan goes away. They don't have a quarterback at all. They play defense. They run the ball. I just think the Vikings would be able to outscore a team like that at home. As much as the Giants are not as a franchise, just ever since they beat the shit out of the Vikings in a game that Vikings fans claim that signals were stolen, radio signals were tapped. Ever since that, Giants haven't. Eli never played well against the Vikings. I think there was at least 1 3 interception game against maybe even 3 pick 6 game. So I'll go 2-2. I'll say they win their home games.
Yeah, I mean this team is going to be very middling because I think their offense can carry them some games. And to your point, teams with good defensive lines
at Chicago close it out for the playoffs.
Loss. 100% loss. I'm on the under. What did I have him? 8-9.
Yeah,
that's perfect. That is a Minnesota Vikings record.
You know what? I like that too because that is the kind of game that Kirk Cousins. That's like kneeling the ball out with 2 seconds on the clock.
And
when you're supposed to spike it, that is a game.
That is an all-timer.
Now I need to go back. Did I give the Bears? Shit. I might need to update my Bears projection to let's see, what would that make the Bears? That would Bears potentially a 4-win team, maybe not a 3-win team, like I said, because I didn't give them the win. I'm going to give them the win that last game. I like the way you did that. So I'm also 8-9.
So you can take the under 9 at -105, which I'm obviously on.
Let's do that.
To win the NFC North at +275 is not good odds for me. I think we'll get to it with Green Bay, but I still think this is Green Bay's division to lose.
Do I have all?
I mean, again, the Bears are the fun wild card in my mind because you're getting them at 14-1 versus +275, and miss playoffs at -127. Yes, please.
All right,
This doesn't strike me as a playoff
here are the
team.
predictions from this division from us so far. Bears 3-14, asterisk 4-13. For me, 8-9 for you. Lions 6-11 for both of us. Vikings 8-9 for both of us. No one's over 500 in this division yet. This is
What
great.
I mean, it's the NFC North. Are we shocked?
Yeah, because I think the Vikings could surprise. But yeah, I'm with you. I think the more that I went through the schedule, the more I feel the ceiling case is a push at 9.
I mean, this is how it looked last year, right?
They're gonna play in a lot of close games.
This is funny because I have the Vikings and Bears both going 8-9, but look at last year: Packers 13-4, Vikings 8-9, Bears 6-11, Lions 3-13-1. And I think if any of these teams surprise, it's going to be the Bears, and I still think it's the Packers team to lose. I know they lost Devontae Adams, but they act like that. Aaron Rodgers is dead. I mean, I know he's gotten into this weird Nick Cage phase of his life, but he is alive and well.
Fuck you, man. It's full John. It's the sequel. I mean, he's metaphorically turning into.
The Packers are going to have 9 home games. They were 8-0 last year. I mean, I just, and they have the most continuity out of all these teams. Every other team is either having a new head coach or they're the Lions.
How many games are the Vikings favored by 3 or more points? How many times will they be favored by a field goal or more? AKA clearly a better team. I can tell you on the look ahead numbers, it's 4.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets up to 5, or as far as times.
Well, they're favored by a point at New Orleans. They're favored by a point at home against Arizona.
Not at New Orleans. That's in London.
Sorry, on the road.
And that could go either way.
And they're favored by a 1.5 against New England. They're favored by 2 at Detroit. There are some small 1.5 at Chicago. So this is certainly a team that's projected to play a lot of close games. And again, do you think Zimmer's the reason they were losing those games last year? You think it was Kirk Cousins? Huh? I don't know why we're just assuming it was Mike Zimmer.
You like that?
I mean, in the case where he wasn't doing a good job coaching, he wasn't even involved because he was thinking about his off-field activities. Fucking love Mike Zimmer. The nerds hate Mike Zimmer. Weird. All right. So 8-9 under.
Yep.
I don't have much there's not much to me to throw out here. I thought, based on the fact that I feel like there's a high likelihood that they do have a bad defense, and I think there's a pretty good chance they have a good offense. I do think that potentially, could Dalvin Cook lead the league in rushing yards?
My big takeaway on the Vikings is I need to have more of them in fantasy.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting to that. So Dalvin Cook, most rushing yards is 10-1. He's the 4th favorite. He's tied.
See, I guess what I worry about there is A, workload. It does seem like they're going to be passing more, and B, injury stuff, because he's consistently gets banged up at some point. I feel like if you're going to lead the league in rushing, you got to play all 17 games. I would rather go someone a little bit younger.
I think in the case where things go really well, he's putting up ridiculous numbers. Like he's putting up like a Jonathan Taylor type pace early. And yeah, to your point, he's got to stay healthy. But if you look at his game, like he's missed a game consistently, but he's only missed a game or 2. So if he really blows it out, like I think there's a chance he could have a season where he does it in 16 games.
He'll be facing maybe lighter boxes. I think that would be your game. I mean, just looking at the amount of points per game the Vikings let up last year, 25.1 points per game. 2020, they let up 29.7 points per game. So I just think new defensive coordinator and bringing in the young talent in the back end of the secondary, which they probably want to play, get them some experience. I think it's just going to be tough. But yeah, to your point, I could see this team going over a bunch, right?
And we aren't total guys.
Hashtag not really not much of a total guy, but yeah, I it's just tough to get them.
So here's
the ceiling case is tough to put together for Kirk Cousins.
Here's maybe the way you play the Dalvin Cook angle, because I think we're gonna see, if you like the Vikings especially, Dalvin Cook to rush for at least 200 yards in any game. He's 8-1. Is that juicy enough for you? Probably not, right? 8-1. Dalvin Cook 200 yards in any game.
I kind of like that better than
definitely. I like that better than him to have the most rushing yards 10-1.
Yeah. How many? He's had some 200-yard games before, right?
Kirk Cousins to have no, I'm going to stop saying that because we're not going to talk about that. Yeah, I'm just not.
Yeah, he had a 200-yard game last year against the Steelers at home.
What are their odds to win the division, Sean?
Plus 275. That to me is crazy. Again, I would much rather have the Chicago Bears at 14-1 than the Vikings at plus 275.
Just going to bet the Packers. I'm not going to.
I mean, the Packers at minus 190. It feels chalky, but
dude, 13 and they win 13 games every year.
Everything has to go. There's so many new things on the defense, new head coach for the defense to, I guess their ceiling cases. Everything works on the defense. New guy, rookies are playing at a high level. Yeah. The scheme change completely works. And the DC is nailing the play calling stuff. Cause if all that clicks together, then yeah, they do have a super high ceiling. I just think there's so much that can go wrong.
I just stumbled into something.
Sure.
Do they have a backup? I mean, we know how Mike Zimmer felt about. I'm blanking on his name. Remember when he was asked about his backup?
Yeah.
Do you want to?
He's like, I've seen enough.
I've seen enough.
I see enough in practice.
Let me pull up the depth chart. But Kirk Cousins to lead the league in interceptions, Sean.
Oh, okay. Now we're talking.
40-1.
Okay. All right.
Is that worth the sprinkle? Is the leash long enough? Sean Mannion, he's a clipboard holder, and Kellen Mond, who did something to Mike Zimmer. Mike Zimmer didn't like him, that's for sure. Is that something worth 40-1 worth dabbling there, or is that just we have just too many obvious choices that are just going to sail by anything Kirk Cousins can?
All right. So last year, yeah, who led the league? I'm seeing it was a tie between Trevor Lawrence and Matt Stafford.
What was the number?
17. So for him to get up there, Kirk Cousins, his previous career high was 13. He's done that twice in 2020 and in 2017. Again, you can, that's kind of an interesting.
Oh, wait, hold on. 2017 was the year that O'Connell was his quarterbacks coach. 13.
Ooh, for the Washington Redskins.
27 touchdowns, 13 interceptions.
Because Matt Stafford had 17. He had 41 touchdowns, but
they went 7-9. Everything
they're going to be throwing the ball more. All right, you talked me into this. Kirk Cousins most INTs 40-1 because they're not going to pull Cousins. They just aren't. And he could get to like 18, 17 if they're again, Brian. The head coach came from the Rams. The Rams quarterback Matt Stafford tied for the league lead in interceptions. God damn, we're fucking genius.
We're tying all the pieces of yarn together. It all comes together with a guy who once kneeled the ball with 2 seconds left on the clock.
The most embarrassing part was the Eagles. They were playing the Eagles and they still lost that game. He got down to like the 5-yard line and then accidentally kneeled it instead of spiking it. It's still one of the great all-time moments. As an Eagles fan.
And also, we didn't really get to it up top, but I meant to bring this up. The last thing I'll say is like Mike Zimmer, like the idea of Skull, a big Viking, Mike Zimmer, like pelts on his wall. It made sense. Now you're bringing in a fucking nerdy Sean McVay disciple. This guy was holding shot. I mean, I just worry. Like, is the Viking blood going to run through Kevin O'Connell?
Well, and Kirk Cousins didn't get along with Mike Zimmer. Mike Zimmer was calling him out a bunch. Well, they got into it a little bit on the sidelines.
Do you think
they probably did need to turn the corner?
Kevin O'Connell's okay with him building his plexiglass quarterback room bubble?
Oh God, remember that? That was fun.
Kirk Cousins really is just an all-time dildo.
We do like that, Kirk. We do like that. Yeah, the most interceptions is a really fun way to play. I guess if you're on the high side of the Minnesota Vikings, I think Kevin O'Connell, Coach of the Year, is not a bad bet. If you think this Vikings team can win 11, 12 games, a new head coach who, boosts you up essentially. Well, that's a problem too. Is like they were 8-9 last year. So if you win 11 games, that's only a 3-game difference. That's usually need almost a little bit more than that. I think they would have to get to 12-5 for him to cash that. But if you like the Vikings, I guess that would be the way to play it in the futures market, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Kirk Cousins never going to win an MVP. No sort of fun long shot stuff there.
Cousins most touchdowns 20-1.
No
Passing yards 18-1. That's
Ooh.
again that's intriguing. Because again,
do we play both?
Which one?
Not
passing
touchdowns.
yards.
Yeah, passing yards.
Yeah, I'm gonna play that because isn't there a version where this team is down 2 touchdowns every game? Well, not every game. They have some easy games, but I certainly think they're gonna
Giants
sling
are
them.
on the site.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah, let me just. So yeah, last year Brady had 53-16.
No, we're not betting this.
No, I mean Matt Stafford, 3rd in the league in passing yards and tied for the league lead in interceptions. I think the Matt Stafford case where he gets high 4,000s, low 5,000s.
All right, I'll put it most passing yards. Kirk Cousins 18-1, but I will say this.
No, I'll just let you play that.
Matt Stafford,
I don't want to have to root for him in any situation.
Matt Stafford is greater than Kirk Cousins in my eyes.
Yeah. Mudoff throwing out Jefferson to lead the league in receiving yards. I like that.
He's chalk though.
But yeah, I don't know if the price is that interesting.
He's literally the chalk. I think I'll look it up right now.
And I definitely, the more I think about it, I'm going to put up, forget where I have him off the top of my head, but Justin Jefferson deserves to be neck and neck, I think, with Mike Evans in my fantasy football rankings.
8-1.
8-1.
Yeah.
I don't hate that.
I mean, he could Cooper Cup this year.
Yeah, he really could. So high on Justin Jefferson for fantasy, high on this team for fantasy, not necessarily for the win total. So I got him going under. Give me the under at whatever under 9 you can get. Miss playoffs -127, and then Kirk Cousins most interceptions 40-1. Kramer, recap what you got for the folks.
All right, I was gonna, because people would get upset if the alt god didn't bring up the alt.
Oh yeah,
over 10 is +200, under 8 is +200. Do we take a swing at under 8? It feels like that's the window that they're gonna be in, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Under 8 +200.
That's pretty nice. A lot of the unders have been.
Yeah, I'll add under 8 +200.
I'll join you
because I think I was even being a little generous there. I don't see this team bottoming out, but I would see them bottoming out before I would see them.
But doesn't their rebuild? They got a new GM too. I mean, doesn't their rebuild potentially not involve Kirk Cousins? So maybe this is a bit of a rebuild. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll also go.
So under 9, miss playoffs -127, under 8 +200. Kirk Cousins most interceptions 40-1. Let's go.
I'm also on the under. I'm also on under 8 +200. Interesting. The missed playoffs. That's going to feel like a lock later, but I'll let you stand alone there. And then I have Cousins most INTs +4,000. Cousins most passing yards 18-1. Just give me a week 8 where he's in the lead. Let him get there.
That's all you need to do.
They do play in a dome. They do play dome football.
They do. They got a bunch of games in a dome. All right. Thank you guys, as always, for tuning in to Sports Gambling Podcast. Hop in the Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Again, live show. You can call in Thursday afternoon, 4:30, as we count down the kickoff to the Hall of Fame game. I know I'm going to be jacked up for that. Obviously, always appreciate a nice rating and review over on Apple Podcasts. Screenshot you submitting a review and send it in on the app. Just click contest. Nice little form you can fill out there. Merch Monday, giving away free gear every Monday, aka Merch Monday. And instead of just the shirt, we're gonna upgrade it to a $35 gift card, so you can do whatever you want there in the SGPN store. Store.sportsgamblingpodcast.com.
Thought you were gonna say puzzle. Draft day puzzle.
Puzzles also, yes, draft day 2 is happening. Drafting for Daryl. It's going to kick off August 9th, noon Pacific. Plenty more details on that coming up.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green. He's Ryan.
We are going to miss Kirk Cousins when he's gone.
You like that?
Kramer.
Like that?
Let it ride.